Hi, it's Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have for us to do this cute set of frog coasters. It comes with the, we do the coasters and this little basket to hold them in. So you have a set of 4 coasters. I'll show them to you. So I did 4 little coasters. Just like that. I thought they were super cute. You can always make more if you want. I did 4, but you can make 6 or 8, however many you choose to make. And then this really cute little basket to put them in that looks like a frog as well. You just put them in your little basket and you can set them on your coffee stand or end stand or something, put them on your coffee table, and it holds all of your coasters. I broke the videos down to 2 parts. Part 1 is making the coaster itself and part 2 is making the basket. I have a link in the description box on the part 1 for the coasters itself, and I also have a link in the description box for the coasters. I have a link for the basket and vice versa. For the link for the basket, I have a link for the coasters. So that way if you happen to find one of these videos but not both of them, you'll be able to get the other one rather easily. So for today we're going to work on the coaster itself. What I used to make these coasters, the yarn, I used Red Heart Super Saver. So let me show you the yarn. Just regular old Red Heart Super Saver. This is 100% acrylic yarn. It is a medium 4 yarn. The recommended hook size is a 5.5 millimeter. If I hadn't said so, this is 100% acrylic yarn. You will not use a whole skein of this yarn at all. Maybe about 3 ounces top total for all of this. The color I used for the green is called Spring Green. The color I used for the little part of the red tongue is, I used Cherry Red. Again, this is just a little scrap that I had left over from another project. And white, just plain ordinary white. And then I had a ball of black that I had left over from other projects. But again, this is Red Heart Super Saver. So let's set these aside. The hook sizes that you will need to do this project. You're going to need 2 hook sizes. The first one for the majority of the project is going to be done in a G or 4.0 millimeter hook, and just the tongue is really the only part of this project that I use an F hook. It is a 3.75 millimeter hook. You could probably use your G hook if you don't have an F hook for the tongue as well. It might be a slight bit bigger, but it would probably still work out fine too. This is done in the round, so if you have difficulty finding your stitch, you might want to have some stitch markers on hand, a pair of scissors, and your yarn and a yarn needle to weave in your ends. I did use the magic ring technique when making this. I have not worked up this project using a chain, like a chain 4 or a chain 3, and slip stitching into the first chain to form a ring. If you have trouble doing a magic ring, you could probably use that technique as well. The tongue might be the only one that you might have a little bit of trouble with, because I did use a magic ring, but I didn't close the magic ring for the tongue. But anyway, that might be the only challenge you might have with this project if you do not know how to do a magic ring technique. So let's grab our hooks, grab our yarn, and let's dig into making these cute little frog coasters. To start the coasters, we're going to start with a magic ring. How I do my magic ring is I place my yarn over my first 2 fingers, lock it down with my thumb, wrap the yarn around to form an X on the back of my fingers. Take your hook, go under that bottom strand, grab the top, want to pull it through, twist, grab your yarn, and chain stitch. We're going to do one more chain because we're going to work with half double crochet. Place 10 half double crochets into the magic ring. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Pull your ring shut so that it's nice and tight. Don't worry if it starts to come undone on you. We're going to sew that closed. So count back your stitches: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And slip stitch into that first one that you made. Chain 1 and place 2 half double crochets back into that same stitch to start up round 2. Yarn split a little bit there. And 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. So continue placing 2 half double crochets into each stitch till you get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I made it all the way back around. We now have 20 stitches. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that first half double crochet that we made. To start round 3, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to half double crochet back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. And we're going to increase our 2 half double crochets into the same stitch into the next one. Then 1 half double crochet into the next, and 2 half double crochets into the next. Then 1 into the next, and 2 into the next. So that is our repeat: 1 half double, 2 half doubles, 1 half double, 2 half doubles. So please repeat this all the way around to get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I've made it all the way back around. We now have 30 half double crochet. I'm going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet that we made. To start round 4, we're going to chain 1 and half double crochet back into that first, or that stitch that we just slip stitched into, pardon me. And we're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. Then 2 half double crochets into the next. And 1 half double crochet into the next, and 1 half double crochet into the next, and then 2 half double crochets into the next. So repeat that: 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochets. So 1 half double, 1 half double, 2 half doubles, 1 half double, 1 half double, 2 half doubles. Please repeat this all the way around till you get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I've made it all the way back around. We now have 40 half double crochet. I'm going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet that we made. To start round 5, we're going to chain 1 and half double crochet back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into, and then we're going to half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, then then we're going to place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Half double crochet once into the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. 1 and 2. And that's our repeat. So 1 half double crochet into the next 3 stitches, so 1, 2, and 3. Then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So 1 half double, 1 half double, 1 half double, 2 half doubles. One, and 1, then 2. Please repeat this all the way around to get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I've made it back around to the beginning. We have 50 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet that we made to start row 6, and this is going to be our last round for the body of the coaster. Chain 1 and half double crochet back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into, and half double crochet into the next 3 stitches, so 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to put 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Then half double crochet into the next 4 stitches, so 1 half double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. My yarn keeps tangling, sorry about that. Then 2 half double crochets into the next. 1 and 2. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So 1 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then 2 half double crochets into the next. 1, 2. So the repeat goes like this: 1, 1, 1, 1, and 2. So please repeat this all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. Got to the end of the round. We have 60 stitches now, and we're going to fasten off. So we're just going to pull up a loop and pull it straight up and out, and we're going to do an invisible finish. So get your yarn needle out and thread it up. And here's our first stitch right here, so we're going to stick our yarn needle through the second stitch. And we're going to bring this over. So we're going to go over the top of the first stitch because we need to keep our stitch counts correct. So we're going to create a false stitch over the top of that first stitch. And I'll just kind of weave this in over here on the back side of our work. You don't want to pull it too tight though, because you want to make sure it looks like a stitch. You want to go back and forth in a couple of different directions, at least 3 times, just to make sure that your end isn't going to weave out or come back out. Work its way back out. Make sure you grab different fibers each time you go through, just like that. And snip it off, and we're going to sew down that magic ring too. Just weave it kind of in around the center there so it won't come back out again and your center won't open up. Just like that. And then you can snip that off too. And here is the base for the coaster. Next we're going to work on making an eye. We're going to start with black, change to the white, and the outside edge with the green. Again, we're going to be working with our G-hook. So let's get our supplies together and let's get started working on the eyes. Just like with the coaster body or the coaster base, we're going to start with a magic ring. Place your yarn over your first 2 fingers, lock it down with your thumb, wrap the yarn around and form that X on the back of your fingers. Take your hook under the first yarn, the bottom yarn, grab the top, pull it through, twist, and chain stitch. One more chain because we're going to work with half double crochet, and place 8 half double crochet into the magic ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Go ahead and cinch that closed. And we're going to be counting back our 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, so that we can slip stitch into that 8th stitch. I know black yarn is really difficult to see on camera, and I do apologize. And now we're going to change colors to the white for round 2. Pull our white in there. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Chain 1. Pull all your ends to make sure everything stays tight. Now you can work over your tail while you're doing round 2, or you can put it aside and weave it in later. Because this is such a small piece and black yarn is so hard to work, so hard to see on camera, I'm going to weave that tail in afterwards. So hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So we're going to place 2 half double crochets into that first stitch. So 1 and 2. And pardon me, I'm just going to pull out a little bit of yarn so it's not so tight. And then 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. That's 1, 2, and 1 and 2. So continue placing 2 half double crochets into each stitch all the way around, and I will meet back up with you at the end of the round. I've made it back around. We now have 16 stitches. We're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made, and we're going to bring up our green because we're going to change colors. Get everything nice and tight. Now you can work over the top of this tail, or you can leave it to the back and weave it in later. I'm going to leave it in the back so that you can see a little bit better what I'm trying to do. I'm going to single crochet into the same stitch that we just slip stitched into, and 2 single crochets, pardon me, into the next stitch. 1 into the next, and 2 single crochets into the next. 1 single crochet into the next, and 2 into the next. This is going to be our repeat all the way around. 1 single, 2 singles, 1 single, 2 singles. Please complete this to get all the way around to the end, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I made it all the way back around to the beginning. We now have 24 stitches, and we're going to fasten off, so just clip off your yarn and pull it straight up and get your yarn needle. Thread up your green yarn, and we're going to do what's called an invisible finish like we did on the coaster body. This is our first stitch. We're going to go into our second stitch and create this false stitch over the top of that first stitch, just like that. And then just weave in the green on the back. Under a few stitches, back and forth, just a couple times. Then you can clip this end off and go ahead and weave in your other ends. Your white. Leave the black out because you're going to use these to sew this on to the coaster body. but go ahead and weave in the white and weave in the green. Once you have your ends all woven in, your eye will be completed. Got my ends all woven in, and this is what our eye should look like. You will need to repeat this 9 more times to complete the full set of coasters and for the basket. You will need 10 eyes total. 8 for the coasters and 2 for the baskets. So once you have all of your eyes finished, set those aside, and now we'll move on to the tongue. So now we're going to work on this little tongue part right here, and we're going to be using our F hook. Mine is a 3.75 millimeter hook. So this is the hook we're going to use to make the tongue. Okay, the tongue is really simple to make. It's only 3 stitches. So we're going to start with a magic ring. Again, you put your yarn over your 2 fingers, lock it down with your thumb, wrap it around your fingers to form that X. Take your hook, place it under the bottom yarn, grab the top, pull it through, and twist. 1 chain. I'm going to do a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet. And just pull that closed, and we're going to go ahead and fasten off. And that is it for the tongue. Just 3 little stitches like that, and there's your tongue. So go ahead and make 5 of these tongues, 4 for the coasters and 1 for the basket. Once you have all your parts made, then we can go ahead and start putting the coasters together. Part 2 will have the basket, so you'll need 2 eyes and a tongue for part 2. So you'll put those aside, and that'll be for the basket. Okay, so now we have all our parts together. You're going to need a yarn needle, and you're going to need a little bit of black yarn for the mouth. So you want to get a piece of black yarn, and you'll need a piece of green yarn too for part of the eyes, to sew the eyes down as well. So we're going to start with the eyes. Now, you'll see, if you're looking at your coaster, you'll see where the seam is. If you take a hard look at it, you'll see kind of where the seam is. It's about right here. So what I like to do is I like to put that kind of up towards the top, and that's where I put my first eye. So I'll kind of put the eye like right here, and then I put my second eye about 3 stitches away from the first eye. So I'll put my eyes like that. So let's let up our yarn needle, and we're going to go ahead and sew down the first eye. Just kind of put it through like this, and just go ahead and sew that eye right down. Just a few stitches right through the middle of the eye. I mean, if you'd like to place your eyes a little bit differently on your coasters, that's cool too, however you want to place your eyes. So I just like to put a few stitches in there right in the middle of the eye to hold it in place. There's my yarn popped out of the needle, which that happens sometimes. Just got to put it back in and bring it down in there. Then I take this other strand and I just bring that to the back. So just bring it right through to the back. And then I go ahead and tie that off. If you want to weave it in, you can do that too. But since it's on the back of the coaster, I usually don't worry too much about it, and I just go ahead and tie it. And cut off the ends. And get a little bit of that green yarn so that we can sew on the green part. Now this one I'm a little more careful with because this could show through. Because you're working on, you don't want it to go onto the white part of the eye. So leave a little bit of a tail there. And you want to keep it on the green stitches so that it doesn't show through. Just like that. And I just sew right along the edge of the single crochets to keep the eye from curling up. So that it lays nice and flat. Make sure you don't catch your tail. Just right along the edge of those single crochets. Just like that. And you can go ahead and weave that in. In the back. And snip it off. And then you can weave this end in as well. Then you just repeat that for the second eye. So you'd repeat that to sew your second eye on. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I have both my eyes sewn on, and our next step is we're going to make the mouth. So here is my black yarn, and I'm usually going to go about 2 rows up or 2 rows in from the bottom and bring up my yarn and right about here. I'm going to leave a little tail in the back, so leave a little piece hanging in the back there, and we're just going to go ahead and embroider going along the stitches. We're just going to do a back stitch for the mouth and just put a nice cute little smile on there. I go about 2 stitches at a time. Whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to do 1 stitch, that's fine. But I use the stitches as a guide because it just makes it a nice even smile. Let's see. There we go. So just a little smile, and then we can go ahead and weave it back under so we can get it back over to the other side. just like that. And then I just tie it off together. You want to tie it too tight because you want to make sure it doesn't pull the stitches. Just like that. And then we're going to sew the tongue on. So here's the top of the stitches, and we're just going to put the tongue on right about there, because we don't want to put it like right about where the second stitch, between the second and the third stitch. So right about there, we're going to just sew the tongue on. And just bring the red through, and I usually bring like both sides through so that I can judge where it should be sitting. So just like that. And then grab one of the threads, one of the sides, and start sewing it on. So just hold it down so I can hold it in place, and then just bring up a few stitches. And just sew the tongue down. Because it's such a small piece, you only need a few stitches there to hold it down. There. Then flip it over, and you can weave the ends in, but like I said, it's such a small little piece, I just tie it off. Clip off the ends, and there is your little coaster. Okay. So we'll have part 2 is linked in the description box below, and that will be to finish off the basket. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that bell. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting! Bye-bye!